Arsenal Football Club are growing in confidence over the potential of signing Fiorentina striker Dusan Vlahovic. The club and the representatives of the player have held positive talks. There is the potential for him to leave the Italian club in this January transfer window. And if the offer is right, Arsenal Football Club are favourites and are leading the charge and are currently in the best position to make it count. Arsenal are pushing hard. They are trying to get this deal done. And as we state, there is a growing sense of confidence. The mood is positive in the Arsenal camp. And they are potentially willing to pay upwards of £10 million in agent fees to help convince the player and his reps that this is the right place to be. We're going to delve into that in more detail, talk about Traore to Tottenham, the Sven Botman update, and any questions you have. This is the Done Deal show on the Football Terrace. Let's do it, people. Let's go. Morning, welcome back to the terrace. I hope that you're all doing very, very well indeed. We're going to be delving into Arsenal's pursuit of Vlahovic. It is on. And when I say on, I always mean active. Just to let you know, when I say a deal is on, it is an active on potential deal. This could happen this month for Arsenal Football Club. They could get this done. There is a growing sense of confidence there. Doesn't mean it's 100% going to happen. Doesn't mean it will happen. Of course, the play is very well documented that the players had preferred choices. The likes of Juventus were always a preferred option for him, and that could still be the case and still be the situation. But Arsenal kind of smell a little bit of blood in the water. They sense an opportunity, and it does appear they're willing to spend good money, both giving money to Fiorentina, paying the player a good salary, but also, and this is key in the modern day game, whether people want to like it or not. And I think this would represent Arsenal acting like a very big club. They're willing to pay a large agent fee. They're willing to pay a large agent fee north of around £10 million to get this done. Of course, we've seen the likes of, and this is what should be positive for Arsenal fans. Don't get carried away. Don't sit there and say, don't go and get a shirt made with his name on the back. Slow down a little bit. But when you hear the Fabrizio Romanos of this world talk about there is the potential and possibility for him to leave, Ornstein's talking about Arsenal being the best placed teams. Arsenal are currently, factually, the number one favourites, the bookies' favourites to land him in the month of January 20. Well, up until the 3rd of Feb, I think, is when the window closes. They are the favourites to land him. I think what's really key is some of the information that has come out. Of course, we shared this in our notification group chat. So if you're not following the Football Terrace Telegram group chat where we're putting out this transfer news first and early, you need to go and get that done. I've put the links in the description and it's in the live comment section as well. Go and sign up to that group completely free of charge for you. Go and get yourselves in there. Your details are protected, by the way, as well. We don't share anything. You're not going to get crazy notifications from everybody else that's in the group. That isn't how it works. But get yourself in there. If you can't find it, the links in the live comment section now. When it actually appears for me on my, there it is. I'm going to pin it right now into the live comment section so you guys can go and take a look at that. But when we look into the actual detail of the situation, I spoke to a few journalists yesterday. I spoke to a few people I know that are very well connected at Arsenal Football Club because I'd heard lots of different stories and rumours, and I wanted to try my best to get as much information as possible to relay it to the Terrace community. And Arsenal are pushing to sign him this month. They are working to do that. The deal is on. The deal is active. They are making proactive strides to get it done. Arsenal are currently ahead based on the fee and salary. Of course, the new striker has just been signed for Fiorentina as well. So Arsenal are working on it, and they are currently leading the race. They're ahead. They're willing to pay more in salary and more in a fee to the club to buy the player. The feeling in the Arsenal camp is that they may be able to get this over the line. Arteta and Arsenal have spoken to the representation of Vlahovic a number of times in the past few weeks, and Arsenal are happy to spend north of £10 million on agent fees. That could be, someone said they've heard it could go up to £18 million in agent fees to essentially help the agent get in the ear of the player and convince him that this is the place to be. And you know what? I would say Arsenal fans should be there'll be banter based on that. If that ever comes out and if that's ever confirmed as being true, Arsenal will get bantered. Oh, you're spending money, you're doing this. But that's exactly what Arsenal Football Club need to do. Arsenal fans have moaned for years that their club has kind of shied away from paying, maybe paying a little bit over the odds for a player, maybe not going the full hog, maybe not kind of playing the agent's game that's needed. And it does appear they're looking to do it. The only fear that Arsenal are worried about is a club that is slightly higher on the pecking order for Dusan Vlahovic coming in and offering the same level of money. So if they come in, if Juve sort out their situation, they come in and match the transfer fee, match the agent fee, match the salary, or get very close to it, Arsenal are concerned that could stop things. But there is a growing sense they have a real chance of getting this deal over the line in January 2022. And I'll say this for Arsenal. The fact they're doing this work and they're pushing for it in itself should make Arsenal fans proud. It's the kind of, for years I've seen Arsenal look like, oh, they could put a title charge on here. They could really cement a place in the top four. They could really do something in the Champions League. And I'm talking about the past 14, 15, 16 years. It's come to that January window and it's been overly underwhelming for Arsenal fans. They haven't gone the full hog. They haven't spent the money or they've left it too long. This isn't just a top talent, a prolific goal scorer they're looking at. It's somebody with age on their side to add into this already very young and exciting squad. Vlahovic also has this kind of, you only get a handful of these every generation. He's young, but he's built like a man. He might only be, I read he was 21. If I'm getting that wrong, if I'm off key and he's older than 21 or younger than 21, I apologize. But I swear I read this morning when I was looking at some stuff, he's 21. Yeah, 21 years of age. He's going to turn 22 this month. But he's built like he's 26, 27. He's built like a pro. You know, Haaland had that. Wayne Rooney had it. Some people are just built like men. Pogba, from day one, really, when they start making their professional debuts, they look like men. This could be a tremendous, tremendous, tremendous piece of business. This Serbian striker is amazing. Big, strong. I wouldn't say he's electric in speed, but he's not a slouch. Good technique. Deadly, ungodly finisher. He really, really is. And if they can pull this off Arsenal, it is a tremendous piece of business. And Arsenal are confident they can land him. And I think that's huge. I know a lot of Gooners. I see a few of my friends that are Gooners on socials are like, I'm not even letting these rumors, I'm not letting these positive stories, even though they're from tier ones, I'm not letting any of it get into my head. I'm not letting any of it kind of creep in. We are going to have Dean Jones on the show next week on Tuesday. I already spoke to him about this, and he said that he's heard a lot of the same things. In fact, I'll tell you what his exact words were, so I don't misquote him, because I don't like to misquote people. Because I was sent the information. What I tend to do when I get sent information is send it into various journalists that I know. Have you heard something similar? And he said there's definitely some truth in that, in the information around Vlahovic. You know, essentially what I sent through to him. And I sent through to him everything that I sent to you. So there is a growing of confidence. Arsenal are willing to pay money. They are willing to make him the best offer. We already know it's a fact. It can't be disputed. It's a fact that they're leading the race to get him. The bookmakers have reflected that when it comes to the odds on him going there, and they'll tend to always do that. So it's going to be very interesting. It could end up being a very interesting January window indeed for Arsenal Football Club. It really could. Now, I want to go to some of your comments. First of all, thank you for the super chats. First of all, the super sticker from Strip Bear. Thank you very, very much indeed. Josh here says, I'm fuming how the scum are ahead of us for Vlahovic. Well, Josh, what's happened is this with Tottenham. Man City are now prioritizing Erling Haaland, which means they're not going for Harry Kane. Harry Kane is probably going to stay at Tottenham. There are mooted reports that he may be getting a new deal. Therefore, you're not going to go for Vlahovic. And one of the reasons why Arsenal have had such a big boost in this deal is Man City and Spurs are essentially out of the race. That's two of the teams that were highly reported as two of his preferences gone. the idea of working for Antonio Conte really kind of enthused him. We've seen what certain managers have pull. That's gone. If City are prioritising Haaland, that's gone. You've got the situation with Juventus of maybe or maybe not they can afford it. I've read a few different things about that. So as far as I can see, it's one of those situations where Manchester United Football Club, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club are pulling away for those reasons, and Arsenal are being benefited. Terry, didn't Vlahovic want to stay until the summer? Vlahovic will stay until the summer if there is an inkling that one of his preferred clubs is going to come in for him. So all those stories of him ignoring Arsenal Football Club were complete fabrications. In fact, they were untrue. The situation was, and this was confirmed 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then we did a video on it here on the terrace. Essentially, what they said to Arsenal is, I'm putting words into their mouth here, but what amounts to, we're flattered. Thank you for the interest. It's definitely something we're going to think about and consider, but we are looking and talking to other clubs as well. Sometimes those situations dictate that doors and opportunities get opened. As we mentioned with City and Tottenham closing things down, Juve have got a few issues and may not be able to afford the player, may be able to get the player. Arsenal, though, being willing to break the bank, move for him now, pay Fiorentina the money, pay the agent what the deal's worth, maybe a little bit more, and break the bank for the player can always change someone's mind. So he may stay until the summer, but it's widely reported and widely accepted in the football world that Dusan Vlahovic can leave this month, could leave this month. And Arsenal are currently best placed and leading the race to get that done. That's just how things stand right now, as far as I'm aware. And that's quite consistent when you look across the stories circulating around Arsenal right now. And as we say, Dean Jones will be on early next week to talk about this in a little bit more detail. But Arsenal pushing hard for it. Now, in other news today, I do want to Spurs fans are an interesting bunch at the minute because they do seem pretty unhappy with the situation with their transfer window as it stands. And Traore is obviously linked with the move there. That could happen. There's no doubt about it. It appears to be a £20 million move that Tottenham are working on. It's kind of an interesting space at Wolverhampton Wanderers right now. They had that talent of Traore and Jota. Of course, they had Ruben Neves. A lot of them want to leave and they want to move on to something bigger and better. I think they've probably been at Wolves as long as they can be, 4 or 5 years. Yeah, things are becoming a little bit stale for them as individuals. And sometimes a change, the old adage of a change is as good as a rest. Spurs have got to do something in this window, though. Traore is a good start. I think he could be. The whole thing is, could he do it? Could he be the Tottenham's Victor Moses? Could he come in as a right wing back and actually become a very good right wing back? We'll see. £20 million is decent value in this market when you consider that Wolverhampton Wanderers wanted 70 to 80 million pounds just 3 to 4 years ago, maybe 3 seasons ago. For Traore, they were asking for 70, 80 million pounds from the likes of Liverpool and Man City that were kind of looking at him as an option. That's going to be as low as around £20 million for this deal. I think it represents good business. But Tottenham have got to do more for Antonio Conte. They've got to do a lot more for Antonio Conte than Traore. Traore by himself is nowhere near enough. It doesn't even touch the sides. And if that's all that, when you look at the fact that Aston Villa have already bought into the club, by the way, in the summer, they got in Bailey. They bought in Buendia. They got Danny Ings. They've now added Philippe Coutinho to that mix, and they are seriously looking at Yves Bissouma. That's the kind of ambition that Tottenham should be showing. But they're not. It doesn't appear they are right now. We're only 8 days in. But remember, that's a quarter of the window gone, finished already. And there's games to play. Spurs need to start acting soon. Spurs need to start bringing players in for Antonio Conte. It's as simple and as straightforward as that for me. They're not where Arsenal are, where their squad is looking good. It's ticking over. The football looks nice. Arteta has built this team over 2 years. He now needs to start just adding star quality. I kind of expected the star quality to be a little bit older than Vlahovic, but you can't turn down that talent. You can't turn it down. And if Arsenal add, in the next 18 months, add a star striker, another star midfielder, another star defender to this talented squad, they're in a great space. Spurs have got to start that as well. They can't afford to watch the parade go by. So I understand the frustrations of Tottenham fans right now. It makes complete and utter sense. I understand why they're annoyed. I understand why they're angry. I understand why they're frustrated at what's going on. I would be as well if I was a Spurs fan. I really, really would. It must be a tremendously frustrating time for people that support Tottenham because they thought they would start in this window a little quicker. As well, we're going to talk about Newcastle. Newcastle, of course, already have landed Kieran Trippier so far this month. Sven Botman's name is on the list. Of course, Diego Carlos as well from Sevilla. Two very talented players that Newcastle were looking to bring in. There's a number of reports surrounding bids have already been turned down. That there's problems with this and problems with that. What it looks like right now is Botman could be essentially what Newcastle. They're not struggling with at all. So I want to make sure I get my language right and be very fair and respectful here to Newcastle. Newcastle are doing the right thing. Everybody is going to try and up the price. Everybody's going to try and get more money out of Newcastle than they should be willing to pay. Newcastle United, in my opinion, it cannot allow themselves to set an early precedent that they're willing to overspend on these players. The price has been set at around 40 million euros. And Newcastle, I know they want to get players in soon, but they have to spend a little bit of time. They have to spend a little bit of trying to negotiate the price down. They have to set the precedent that they'll play hardball. They have to set the stall out early that we're not going to be manipulated in overpaying for players. We're not going to overpay for agents on a regular occurrence. We're not going to overpay in salaries. You need to get the reasons for joining right in the beginning to map out the future. Lille have set an asking price of around 40 million euros. Let's see what it actually comes in at. Let's actually see what it comes into the club. Now, Botman's an interesting one because he's young. He's an interesting one because he's not just going to improve their defense now, but they're looking at him as more of a longer-term option to come into the football club. And look, he's been linked with a number of teams such as Liverpool in recent years. He's clearly got some ability. He's clearly got some talent. And I think it could be another tremendous piece of business. You throw Diego Carlos, I'm not overly familiar with, did some research on him, read about him, appears to be, again, a lot better than what they've already got. You throw Botman in there, you throw Kieran Trippier in there. There was talk of Anthony Martial. It looks very much like that isn't going to happen. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is an outside possibility. He could go in if Arsenal Football Club are willing to still pay a percentage of that ridiculous wages that they offered him only a few months ago, well, a year or so ago. But, they could add 4 or 5 bits of star quality, a little bit for the future, some now more for the contemporary. And Newcastle may just have enough to stay up this season and then really start there. And if Newcastle do stay in the Premier League, it is bad news for everybody because they're already looking at the right kind of... I'm actually quite impressed with the targets they're going for. It's strategic. They're smart. They're not... So I'm just trying to find the right wording here. They're not kind of going for just... They're not spending too much money on average journeyman players. They're looking strategically as, okay, who's good for now? Who's good for the future? Who's Prem proven? They're looking at, it's a very good strategy so far. That's on paper. You've always got to see how it transpires onto the football pitch. But actually, I think it's really sensible business from Newcastle United. I really do. Danny here says, big up Terry, F me, where Arsenal getting all this money from, 145 million before the season. Now, Arsenal got money. These clubs all have money. Arsenal Football Club are one of the, if you go over the last 5-6 years, Arsenal are one of the biggest spenders in Europe. This is why when people keep telling me Man City are ruining football with their money, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. Teams can afford, the big teams in England with the TV money, plus there's a new American TV deal on the way, which is another 30-40 million pounds a year in the bank accounts of these players. They can afford to spend it. If you spend right and have a club project, a club system, once you've spent this money, you don't need to do it every year, especially when you've got a young squad. If they spend in this season 220 million pound on players, but it works, Maybe in the summer, they only have to spend 80 million, 90 million. But if they make the top four, that's an extra 60, 70 million pounds a year in TV money. But you spread that cost over the contract periods. And then maybe in 2 summers' time, they only have, they barely spend anything. They might be by one player at 20, 30 million pounds. They also sell a few players on and balance the books a little bit. It isn't that much money when you spread the cost. Where it becomes expensive is when you spend 300 or 400 million pounds on a squad, but none of the players are conducive with the way the manager wants to play. And in 2 or 3 years' time, you have to sell them all at a pittance and reinvest again. And you end up repeating that cycle 5 times in 9 years. That's where it's ridiculous. That's where it's hemorrhaging. But Arsenal seem to be getting their transfers absolutely spot on. So they've got the money. And as I said before, this nonsense that City are breaking football because they're spending money is crazy. Look at how net spend doesn't exist. Net spend is not real within real football. It doesn't exist. No clubs use it. Example being this. If Man United sign Antonio Rudiger, net spend will say it was free. It cost us nothing. But you may end up having to give him £20 million to sign on, and then his wages jump up by 70% above the market price. But that doesn't count as net spend because people don't see it as a transfer fee. If you've got a club whose wage bill is £100 million and they've bought all this talent in cheaply, so their net spend is low, but the talent turns out to be brilliant, and within 3 years, their wage bill has grown to £300 million a year when they've increased everybody's salaries, increased the bonuses to keep that talent at the club, the net spend looks low. But the actual spend on keeping that squad together is increased by £200 million a year. Therefore, over a 4 or 5 year period, that squad's cost 6, 7, 800 million pounds more. But you don't see it as net spend because you're not looking at it from the right angle. So for me, stop looking at what teams have done in net spend and look at the value of the squad, what they're pumping in as salaries, and then also look at what that club can actually afford to do. So you might find, City spent £100 million more than us, but your club could afford to do that. So don't moan about Man City doing it. Moan at your club for not following suit. You know, at the end of the day, there's so much money in football now. Not just because billionaire owners have come in, because TV companies are willing to offer billions. And you'll probably find in another 4 or 5 years' time when the streaming companies take over the lion's share of the TV viewing, the money's going to go up again. It's just whether your owners and your club pocket some of that money or whether they're willing to do what Man City do and reinvest pretty much every single penny across the football club. That's the difference. Certain owners like to take 10, 20 million pounds a year. 10, 20, 30, 40 million pounds a year out the club, some like to take when that could go into the squad. Some don't have a plan of how to spend that money or what to do with it. And that's why these things fall apart, my people. That's it. City ain't breaking nothing. Bad owners are breaking football, not Man City. Terry, Arsenal showing some signs, but is this enough for the Premier League title in the next 3 to 4 years? What is their target? Look, I don't know what Arsenal's target is. It has to be winning the league. We don't know for a fact what their target is, but Arsenal have to be targeting winning the league. They're one of the biggest clubs in the world ever. They have to target winning the league and they have to target becoming European champions. We kind of know that they're targeting that because it's one of the things that Arteta said very early on. If Smith Rowe, if Martinelli, if Lokonga, if Saka, I might have said his name, if all those guys, Dusan Vlahovic, if they all reach their potential, Ben White reaches his potential, if Gabriel reaches his potential, and you still throw in 2 or 3 more stars on top of that, this Arsenal team, who knows where the land is going to lie in 3 to 4 years' time? Who knows where the land is going to lie? Who knows who replaces Klopp? Who knows who replaces City? Who knows what their dip is or their growth is? Nobody quite knows. Maybe Arteta isn't even there in 2 or 3 years. Maybe in 2 years' time, this squad's there. This is how a great club could work. Arteta builds it for another year, and then they move on from him. But then a better quality manager comes in who just seamlessly takes over this squad and takes them to the next level. Very much, and I'm not suggesting they'll do what Man City have done, but Pellegrini to Pep. Slow transition and then bang. So who knows? If they suddenly have a world-class manager in 2 years' time, that's it. I'm not saying Arteta is going to be sacked. I'm just suggesting we don't quite know. They've just got what Arsenal have to do is become very insular for a moment, very shoeboxed, think about themselves and improving what they do, get themselves ready, and not look at anybody else. That's it. They shouldn't be focused on what everybody else are doing per se. It should be about their product and their plan. And I remember Gary Neville being asked a question, who will win a Premier League title first, Arsenal or Liverpool, Man United? And he just said the team that sticks to their plan, the team that sticks to their guns, the team that stays in their lane, stays to their plan consistently and gets back on track. And Arsenal appear to be doing that. Terry, a lot of what ifs. But the question's about what ifs, bro. Football is what ifs. Everything about the future is what ifs. If Man City play Man United and if Man City play to their best, they probably beat Man United, right? That's how you predict football. But what if they don't? What if Man United have a brilliant day? What if City have an off day? That's football, my bro. If you remove the ifs, the buts, the maybes, and the hypotheticals from football, it's a foregone conclusion. If it's a foregone conclusion, it's like a rom-com. You know what's going to happen. They meet, they fall in love, they fall out, they're back together in the end. They're all the same. Every single film, every rom-com ever is the same. So why would you want that to be football? The ifs, the buts, and the maybes are what make it beautiful, exciting, and amazing. So, bro, who knows where Arsenal are going to be in 3 to 4 years' time? Who knows where City will be? What if? That's what you have to look at. Big energy here says, Terry, respectfully, Arteta is the right man for the job. The majority of us love him here. We don't need to replace him. He just needed time and signings. And maybe he is, mate. And I'm throwing out all these different possibilities to suit everybody's agenda. And what I mean by that is, in 2 years' time, Arteta could be ready to challenge for a Prem. Equally, in 2 years' time, the squad could be ready, but you need a different manager. I'm just pointing out, we don't know. It just looks good right now, and I think everybody needs to slow down. Arsenal just need to get a squad together that have the technical and physical ability to be able to go toe-to-toe with everybody on a consistent basis. They've shown us this season they can bounce back from adversity. They've shown us they can grow. They've shown us in the performance against Man City that they can go toe-to-toe. They now need to turn that into more consistency, beating some more of the big teams. And then they're ready to go. Add a few more bits of star quality in. But what you might find is you add the star quality and you get really close, but you can't quite get over the line. So the next stage is to change manager, because one day you'll change manager. It's very unlikely he's going to do a Wenger and be here for a quarter of a century, a Fergie and be here for a quarter of a century. I'm just saying, and it isn't a dig at. I said it in what I said. It's not a dig at Arteta. It's just a case of the club needs to think about itself beyond the manager and any one individual player. That's the key. Club first, personnel second. And that's how fans should think too. But I do hear you, brother, and thank you for that super chat. I really do. I hear what you are saying. Arteta isn't going to win the Premier League. Arteta out is what Mr. Waffle has got to say here. Do me a favor this morning, people, and smash that like and share button. I just want to say we are going to open up the links because I know a lot of people want to talk about this news. I'm going to do a bit of an update as well, and then we're going to go into your calls in relation to the Vlahovic news, him potentially joining Arsenal Football Club. Make sure you joined our Telegram notifications account as well. All our transfer news goes into there first before we go live, or it goes out on Twitter, so make sure you're following it. Now, this is I'm going to give you the update again for anybody that's just tuned in. Make sure the like button has been hit as well. So essentially, Arsenal Football Club are growing in confidence over this deal. They are the best placed in terms of fees and salaries right now in January to land him. They are working on the deal. It is on and it is active, and Arsenal Football Club are pushing for this deal. There is a feeling within Arsenal Football Club that there is a distinct possibility that this deal could happen in January. Arsenal Football Club have spoken to the players' reps on a number of occasions in the past couple of weeks. And it is reported that they're also willing to break the bank in terms of agent fees as well. That is key. If you can get the agent on side, because he's smelling a pound note, he'll get into the ear of his player. That is part and parcel of the modern day game. And Arsenal have got to play that game. There is a real chance this deal could happen. There is a real chance that he could leave Italy this January. It's not a guarantee. No deal has been agreed. There were some rumors yesterday because of a bit of a troll account that personal terms have been agreed. None of that has happened as far as I'm aware. as of now. Now, this information was shared with me yesterday by a few people that I know. I then cross-referenced it with a number of journalists. One said there's a little bit of truth, right through to there's a lot of truth in that. We're going to be having Dean Jones on the show on Tuesday to go into this in more detail. So I would say this to Arsenal fans. Be proud of your club pushing for this deal now. Be proud of your club fighting for a player that you were maybe 4th, 5th, 6th on the pecking order for just a few short weeks ago. With Man City walking away from the Harry Kane deal, according to reports from David Ornstein, with Tottenham looking like they're keeping Harry Kane, that's 2 big players out the way instantly. You've got Real Madrid's and Barca's heavily focusing on trying to sign Haaland. So from Vlahovic's point of view, a lot of these kind of the teams that he would look at and maybe say are better placed now for me than Arsenal, they either can't get me or they're not even focusing on me. Arsenal Football Club want me. They want me to be their main man. They're willing to offer me, my agent, my representations, the money as well to back up what they're saying. This is all a big positive. Still a long way to go. But as I say, Arsenal fans should be exceedingly happy with the approach they're doing. We're going to go to your calls now. We've got Abdul, we've got young Tommy, we've got Shrey, and we've got Pav to come on. I want to go to young Tommy first because, of course, he is an Arsenal fan. Make sure you're sharing and subscribing the Football Terraces channel. It's very, very important to me that you do that. I just need to update one little thing here before I go forward. Let's get your calls rolling, though, people. First up, young Tommy's here. What you saying, mate?
Hi, Tao. Happy New Year. I'm happy, bro. We are playing well. It's good to be an Arsenal fan. I'm happy with the performances. Unlucky not to get anything against Man City because I thought we were the better team with 10 men. I feel like we should have got a penalty when Odegaard got fouled in the box, but we should have taken the 3 points. But a draw would have been all right. But I'm proud of the players. So we showed fight, we showed spirit. I'm proud of these players. But it is what it is. We move on. I'm proud of these players. They can we can take positives from the game. But yeah, Vlahovic, I think it's gonna happen because we need him. We can't afford to mess this up. We need him. The guy is strong. He can hold up the ball. His link-up play is really good, and he's good in the air, and he's a good finisher. So we definitely need to get that deal done. Then we need a holding midfielder in it because obviously Partey and El Neni, they're both gone to AFCON. And we should have kept Maitland-Niles, but he's going to Roma on loan, and we only have Xhaka and Lokonga, and our midfield is weak and lightweight for me. So we need to get another central midfielder, and I think we're looking good for top 4, and hopefully we can get it. But it's still early days for me. Then in the next 3 to 5 years, we can challenge for the league again. Like hopefully we can challenge for the league, but I don't think Arteta's the guy that can challenge us. We need like a Ten Hag or maybe like a Mancini, a Poch, or anyone, or a Gasparini type of manager to help us challenge for the league titles. Don't get me wrong, Arteta's doing all right, but I don't think he's the guy that can challenge league titles. Like, no offense to him, but I don't think he's the guy that can challenge us for the league. We need a elite manager like a Poch, a Ten Hag, or a Gasparini type of player in it. But yeah, we need all that. So yeah,
there we go. Listen, young Tommy, thank you for your call, my friend. Thanks for coming on the terrace and having your say. Top man. Links to call in the live comment section, people. Let's do this. Thank you, Tommy. Now, look, I know a lot of people are saying, a lot of people in the comments are asking me, do I think it will happen? I don't know. I don't know whether it will happen. There is a chance. I think Arsenal fans have got to look at it from that point of view. There's a chance. Don't hold your breath because your lips might turn blue. But one thing I would say to Gooners is this. It's funny. I got a DM the other day from somebody that says, I've only just started watching your channel because for the last 2 years, a lot of Gooners in my group chats have said that it has an anti-Arsenal agenda. And I messaged him back and I'm like, bruv, it doesn't have an anti anybody club gender. I just give you my opinions on things as I see them. And like I'm praising Arsenal now because this is good business. I'm not sitting there like a lot of Man United, like a lot of rivals of Arsenal saying, won't happen, no way, no Champions League, no this, no that. Like this, read what's going on, research the situation. Arsenal Football Club have a genuine chance of landing this player. But even the way you're going about it is good. The way you operate and conduct yourself is key to growing and moving forward. So yeah, I would just say that there is a distinct possibility that this deal could happen. There's no doubt about it. Pav's on the show now to have you say. What are you saying, Pav?
All right, man. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Vlahovic and Newcastle as well. He's a very, very, very good striker. I didn't know much about him before last season. I only got into knowing him um, just through highlights and stuff that I used to see on YouTube, and he was scoring a lot of goals. That's why I kind of knew about what he was doing, and he's carried that on into this season.
Mm.
Um, Considering how good he's been for the season and a half now, I don't think Arsenal will probably be the only club to try sign him. Depending where Haaland goes, he's probably the number one striker who's wanted by pretty much all the big clubs. Vlahovic will probably be second on most people's list. And as myself for United next season, if we need a striker, I wouldn't be too um, like unhappy about maybe Man United trying to get Vlahovic if we can't get anyone else. If Cavani goes and if Ronaldo goes or whatever. But I only see him going to Arsenal if they get Champions League, only because I don't think Arsenal have that pulling power anymore than the other bigger clubs do. Say if we don't get Champions League, I still think we could pull some big players like we have done in the past, but I don't see Arsenal having that pulling power. Um, the quoted price, people are saying anything between 60 to 80 mil. Considering what he's doing, it's probably worth that. But then it all depends on if you can do it in another league. I would have thought he could have gone to Dortmund after Haaland left, but there's no chance in hell they ever pay
They're
60 odd
not. But do you
million
know
for
what I would
someone
say
like
though,
that.
bro? Like with all due respect, like Arsenal are more attractive than Dortmund. And do you know why I say that?
I
Because
think it's more, like Haaland went to like develop. I think
I get that, but
maybe if you
he's
wanted to
22.
go
He's
develop,
22, but he's 22. He now needs to make that move. And with all due respect, I don't disrespect Germany, but like if he goes to Dortmund, they'll play nice football. They'll come second or third. They'll get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League every year, and that's kind of it. Arsenal, whether they do it or not, are pushing this notion of come here. We want to eventually actually challenge again. We actually want to get back to the top. There's no guarantees Arsenal will do that, but at least the ambition is there. When I look at
yeah,
Dortmund,
yeah.
Dortmund for me are never going to do that again. Just because of the way the money is in Europe now, they don't they never hold on to their players long enough to build a team like that. So I kind of hear where you're coming from, but I think it could be very good business for Arsenal indeed, and their fans should be quietly, I would say quietly excited. Like there's a
No, they
lot.
should be happy that their
Yeah,
club's showing the ambition to sign somebody like that. It will just depend on the players really if they want to go
yeah.
to Arsenal. Quickly on Newcastle, they're kind of making the right moves as well. With Trippier, he's not like amazing, but it's kind of experience that he's kind of bringing. That's what's most needed for them.
Mm.
There isn't much experience. He's been at Atletico. He's done he ain't really done much with Tottenham, but he's been there with Athletic for the last couple of seasons, and he's bringing in experience. Sven Botman, now he's a centre back that a lot of clubs want. I wouldn't have minded him to come to United as well. I know Liverpool were looking at him, other clubs are looking at him, AC Milan are looking at him, but it all depends. Like I beg Newcastle to get relegated because that would be the season for me. Like my club's a disaster. But a happy ending for me would be Newcastle to get relegated because then at least we don't have to worry about them for another 2 seasons or so. But
But
if
I hear
Newcastle
you on
do
that.
get him, it would really bolster their
Strategic.
defence.
I hear you completely. Pav, top man for coming on the show. We'll speak to you again soon. Thanks, buddy.
Cool, man.
Top man, thank you. Next up, we're going to speak to Abdul on the show. A lot of people in the comments making me die. Come on, you Gooners. Gooners already lost 7 games this season, but they improved apparently. Well, they have improved. More points in the league, holding their own more in bigger games. They're moving forward. There has been improvement. People expect improvement to be rubbish to winning the league title in one go. It doesn't work like that. Step change needed. Celebrate those step changes. It's as simple as that. Abdul's on the show with me now to have his say. Keep smashing that like button, people. What are you saying, Abs?
Hey, Terry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, bro. What do you want to say?
There was just one thing that I kind of disagreed with you on. You mentioned the fact that City news came out that City have made Haaland a priority signing, and the other top teams in Europe are gonna go in for Haaland as their priority. But I disagree with the notion that just because they make Haaland number one doesn't mean that Vlahovic is off the table. Because if you're a team like City, and you are competing with clubs like Real Madrid, you know that chances of you landing Erling Haaland, they aren't massive. So the notion that City have made Haaland number one doesn't mean they're not still in for Vlahovic. And to be honest, for Vlahovic's side, what good does it do for him to accept a move in January when he can have potentially a lot of different offers in the summer that he can compare? It just doesn't make sense from his perspective either, because why would you limit yourself to one offer when you can have multiple offers that you can compare in the summer?
Well,
So
sorry.
Yeah.
So I think if you look at the story in itself and delve into it, Arsenal were very aware that he may decide to defer his decision until the summer. That'll be based on the noise that's coming out of those other football clubs. Of course, Man City will want to keep the Vlahovic plate spinning because they'll want a backup to if they can't get Haaland. But football players are quite egotistical. I think you have to be egotistical in an industry where less than 1% of you actually make it professional. And then within that game, it's even more competitive. You sometimes have to put yourself first. You have to secure your future. One of the things I was told in the summer about Arsenal's transfer approach is it is a bit of a double-edged sword in the sense of these young players could make us into a brilliant team. But if we don't quite get to where we want to be, there is great sell-on potential and sell-on value within these players, which means we can, reinvest it back into the squad. So it kind of serves both things. It gives you potential for great outcomes, but if you don't get the outcomes you want as an overall football club, you've still got these talented football players you could sell on and reinvest. So it's, from a business perspective, it works for Arsenal. That will also be a notion that can go in for him. But football players want to feel loved. Football players want to feel wanted. And I've been very privileged to have conversations with football players. Why have you picked Wolves over Champions League teams? The manager's pool, the attention the club gave me, the way they spoke about their project, the game time that I'm going to get, the development they're giving me. Sometimes right down to what they've offered to me, my parents, and my representation. Like all these things. Man United once signed the player because they also gave really good jobs to the parents of the player within their setup as well. Because it was like, I can't come here about my parents and they've got jobs. Well, what do they do? This and this. Man United gave them jobs. So there are lots of things that can happen that can twist and change people's minds. And I think if you actually delve into what I've said and what I'm hearing from Arsenal is they don't think it's done. They think they can do it. They think they have a good opportunity, but they still know that he may just turn around and say, do you know what? Thank you. I'm not, just as you said, I'm going to wait until the summer to see what happens. But Arsenal, from their point of view, they are going to want to strike now when there is an opportunity and nobody else is really going in for him, because they might be able to convince him. Interestingly, I also got told another story yesterday, which I just tweeted about. I didn't do a video about it, but I tweeted about Man United are actively pursuing Antonio Rudiger. That deal is what I call on, because Man United are pursuing him after initial contact and Rudiger's camp haven't said go away. So it's on, right? It's a possibility. And I said Man United are reportedly going to offer him over £200,000 a week. Most Chelsea fans responded with, never going to happen. That's rubbish. Not going to happen. Why are we even talking about it? And then some people responded with, well, he's never going to go to a rival, Terry, or Chelsea won't let that happen. And I'm like, all those things are true, but that doesn't stop Man United making an approach. The news isn't that Rudiger is going to join Man United. The news is Man United want him. Rudiger's camp have listened to what they've had to say. And I think sometimes it's about looking at it from the point of view of Arsenal feel confident they're going in for this player, but you are right. It doesn't mean they'll get him. One of the things that's in the big tweet that we've put out and in the big post is that Arsenal were fearful that one of these preferred destinations matched their offers. But we all know in football, if Arsenal were to offer 180 grand a week, but Juve only offered 75 grand a week, he might pick Arsenal. Like, that's just the nature of football. People are looking at the money side of it as well. So, look, for me, bruv, I'm really intrigued by this deal and the direction that it goes in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, some players do want to feel appreciated, of course. And it depends on the player himself, because some players, they value their boyhood dream. Like if you've grown up wanting to play for Real Madrid, you don't mind being rejected. Or you being on the third priority. You know what I mean? As long as they come for you at the end of the day. But I mean, it's interesting. I think the problem with Arsenal fans can be is that when they see that they're seriously going in for him, they see that as, all right, there's a big chance that we're gonna get him. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see. I have another question just to round it off. When looking at Manchester United and the potential outgoings in the forward area, what do you personally believe you guys are going to do in regards to a striker? Because we are hearing all these clubs be linked to two strikers. There is not enough strikers to go around because there's a big demand for strikers currently. And Manchester United are going to be one of them once Cavani and Ronaldo exit the door, which we know for a fact is going to happen within the next 2 years. So do you have any idea of what you might be going in for, or in which race you're going to be entertaining?
Well, it was reported last night that United are pulling away from Erling Haaland. Jeremy Cross reported on that. I don't personally know. You've got the Julian Alvarez deal that United have had advanced and details talks with, but they've made no official offer. And again, but you're never going to hear about an official offer because they don't want to embarrass themselves and not get that deal done. Vlahovic is a player that I've done a lot of research on and looked into because of all the links with the Premier League clubs, and he looks very, very talented indeed. We of course also have Mason Greenwood, who sees himself as a central player, as a number 9, and is someone that maybe should be given an opportunity to move into that position. But I don't really know. Do you know? I have an outside feeling what we might end up doing.
Yeah,
and this is Harry Kane.
No way.
But you say no way, but you're looking at it from somebody with a brain. Man United don't have a brain. So Man United are the kind of club that nobody else is going to end up wanting Kane. They're going to be going for the younger models. And that's what we should have bought Cavani 5 years ago, 6 years ago. We didn't. When we signed Zlatan, it was 6-7 years too late. We should have tried to sign Ronaldo when he left Real Madrid the first time around. Man United have had this habit. We should have broke the bank for Di Maria before he went to Real Madrid. We signed a lot of players too late in their
Schweinsteiger as well, maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's Schweinsteiger. Or a player or somebody of Schweinsteiger's quality when they're in their pomp is what Man United need, and we tend to not always do that. I wouldn't wake if we woke up in the summer one morning, Man United pays £78 million to sign Harry Kane or 80 million for Kane. I wouldn't go, oh my God, I can't believe Man United have done that. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I get you.
So when I say Harry Kane, people go, no way should we do that. It's like you're acting like I want that. No, I'm suggesting that's, we tried three summers running when Gareth Bale's body was done. We still tried to sign him because we wanted that. Like, the one thing is, Harry Kane to Man United makes huge headlines. England captain, prolific goal scorer. From a media point of view, it's massive. Look at did you see the stats that came out yesterday? Man United I think it's last 12 months, 2.6 billion Twitter interactions.
Yeah.
The nearest Premier League club to that was Chelsea with 1.2. We get more than double the social media interaction just on Twitter alone of these clubs. That's worth so much money. Your reach in social media is worth millions of pounds. That's what this club cares about.
So you think the brand,
the Harry Kane deal, from a reach point of view, is gargantuan. It's gargantuan.
Do you think like brand plays a big part in which signings United they choose to make?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you think branding, the brand?
Oh, huge part. This has been kind of confirmed by, not in those direct words, but that's been spoken about by LVG and by Jose Mourinho. The brand element, the reason they didn't want, in Fergie's day, it didn't matter if Pogba was the best player or not. If Fergie said, for whatever reason, I want him out, even if it was just, I don't like him, it happened. They stopped Jose Mourinho from moving Paul Pogba on because of commercial reasons. Now, there are some people like me that rate Paul Pogba that were happy he stayed. But I now look at it and remove my emotional feelings about Pogba and realize that was one of the biggest decisions the club made that have led to this position we're in now. Players refusing to work hard for managers all stems from decisions like that, where players are told they're more important, especially the players with huge social media profiles. Like Jesse Lingard isn't even in the same ballpark as a Paul Pogba on the pitch.
Yeah.
Jesse Lingard, from a commercial point of view, is very potent. 9 million followers on social media, very popular in that environment. He's worth a lot of money. And this has been drummed into these players that in some respects, that's more important than what you do on the field. It's honestly, we're run backwards as a football club.
Do you think, this might be controversial, but do you think a player like Marcus Rashford would be afforded more chances and opportunities despite a poor run of form than, say, a player like Anthony Martial, because he's a bigger brand off the field? Do you think that might be something that might be going on?
Potentially, it can be. I mean, I would put nothing past Man United. And the thing with some of these players, the reason why I want some of these players to leave as well, I want some of these players to go to good clubs. I'm even getting to a point where this is the first time I've said this publicly, but I actually kind of want Rashford and Greenwood to throw in transfer requests and leave as well. Go to better clubs. One, this club is poisonous and you're getting ruined here. The fans don't respect you. There's a section of every there's a group in Man United fan base that don't like Rashford, don't like him, don't like her, whatever. I also want these players to go to a club that's actually going to make them work hard and be in a dressing room. Like, you go to Liverpool and you try and not do what Klopp says. Klopp won't even have to say a word.
Yeah.
That squad, Van Dijk, Alisson, Salah, they will make you do the work. United don't have that. And I'm so happy to see Martial and Pogba wanting to leave, not because I don't like them, but because for them, it will benefit them as people in so many ways. My club makes me sad, man. It makes me sad. Terry supporting players over the club. See, again, you're missing my point, Toyin Koss. I want these things to happen. I need fans to start focusing on the real problem, which is the club. But equally, if I think the club is the problem, of course I'm going to defend players. If I think the club is so toxic that it creates bad people, you know what they say about dogs? There's no such thing as a bad dog, only bad owners. Same thing works with human beings. You know, if you're badly run, staff become bad. Subordinates become bad. It's the way the world works. Same everywhere, bro. But there we go. Listen, Abdul, great call, my friend. Thanks for coming on and having your say. I really appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Cheers. There we go. Next on the show, I'm going to get Jason's coming on now. Long time no speak to Jason. What you saying, bro?
Long time no see, Terry. How are you doing?
I'm good, my friend. Remind everybody who you support, bro.
I support Arsenal, of course.
Lovely. What's
London red, mate.
It's good to have a Gooner on then. What's your take on this news? Like, some rivals seem a little bit like, no, it's not happening. Some Gooners don't want to believe it. Like, where are you at, Jace? Where are you at, my bro?
To be like, it feels like the deal is kind of close a little bit. Like, I feel like it amazes me how proactive we are in the transfer market in terms of we are, like Mikel Arteta kind of said that they are looking for a new midfielder. They're looking for other targets as well, strikers. He has not. I saw his press conference yesterday. He hasn't denied it, like literally one bit.
Yeah.
He hasn't. Yeah, so it just kind of like, it just gives me a little bit of hope. And so even though, like, obviously Vlahovic, looking at his stats this season, 16 goals in 19 games. I feel like, they're decent stats, but I personally haven't really seen him play. So obviously, like, I don't know. I know he has been bagging goals for the last, or like this whole year, 2021, it seems, but I'm not too sure. Like, he's been proven for a long sustained amount of time. So that's why I'm just a bit like, can he do it in the Premier League itself?
And you're right to be like that. You're right to question it and not. I would say I've said this to Arsenal fans loads this season, and some have taken it as an agenda. I'm like, be excited, but don't go over the top. The way Jess and Adam Charles have reacted to Arsenal's current form, Spurs and Man United dropping points, is I'm happy United and Spurs have dropped points. I'm happy with where we are, but I'm taking it each game at a time. Some Arsenal fans are straight out, you ain't catching us, we're back, we're doing this.
No. I can't do that. I've seen this way too many times. I feel like I feel like United and Arsenal are quite similar in terms of like fan bases and stuff like that. It's just like, boy, like you just like one small thing, like it just flips and flops. So I was like, I've seen this way too many times, and it's just like I'm not gonna fall for that bait ever again, man. Like literally,
Bro,
honestly, Kerry.
I hear you completely. My brother, thank you very, very much for coming on and having your say. I really appreciate it,
No
bro.
problem,
Thank
Kerry.
you.
Have a nice day.
Top
Cheers.
man, thank you. Next on the show, Shrey is here. What are you saying, Shrey?
Hey Terry, can you hear me?
I can, bro. What do you want to speak
Yeah.
about?
Okay, so I wanted to first start off with Vlahovic. As a neutral, I like the way Arsenal are progressing and in terms of on and off the pitch. But I genuinely feel like this deal is contingent on like one of their strikers have to leave, like for Arsenal to be able to offer the kind of money like that you have reported, like up to 18 million a season, like for 18 million for agent fees and 60 to 80 million for the transfer. So I think that is a key factor. Like Aubameyang or like I said, someone has to leave, because then you will have like an overload of strikers. So where do you flip Vlahovic into the mix? So
Yeah.
I think that is also a thing they have to look at. And secondly, as far as Newcastle is concerned, I think as for the sake of banter, I hope they get relegated. Like seriously, otherwise, like Newcastle are a serious thing to watch. Because the money they can have, they can go and spend Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe all on the same team. Like I mean, it'll get ridiculous.
It's
So
funny,
that's where I
really.
think,
It's funny because a few Newcastle fans I know, including my cousin who's a Newcastle fan, are like, "Oh, you guys just hating on us." I'm like, "Yeah, we are. Think about it. We are fearful of you, so we want you to fail. It's almost get used to it. Like I always see it with Man United. It's like people go, "Oh, it's terrible that Man United are in this state." Well, do you really want Man United? Like, if I ask any rival, would you really like Man United to be back to where they're really good? No one really wants it. So it's not bitterness. It's absolutely it. Shrey, top man for coming on and having your say.
I wanted to ask you one more thing.
Go on.
As you know, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I wanted to ask you, what are you hearing on like Chelsea? Like I've heard Digne, Tchouameni, like even Emerson coming back. I've heard. So I don't know.
Yeah, Emerson, Luca Digne, the left back thing's being looked at. I did read yesterday that your manager wants someone to play in the right back role. Of course, with looks like Aspie might have picked up a little knock now, but with Reece James missing as well. So fullback seems to be the priority. I think midfielders, that'll be a summer thing. I think the midfield element will be a summer thing for Chelsea. You've got a good enough squad still. It's just the injuries to the fullbacks that have been a problem, I would say.
Yeah.
There we go. Shrey, top man.
That.
Shrey, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. I appreciate it. Everybody who's tuned in today, thank you. We're back live after I want to say it's Chelsea at 5:30 today. I think it's Chelsea today at 5:30. We're live after that game. So make sure you're tuning into the Football Terrace. Do me a favor now and smash that like and share button. Subscribe to the Terrace. Join our transfer notification group. The link's in the description below. Just hit 1,000 followers in that group, which is amazing. But until next time, take care. Goodbye.